Freemasonry kind of like steps into the spotlight in London. And here's basically the short version of it. 4 separate lodges that had already been around for, decades decide to join forces. And they came together to create what would eventually be called the United Grand Lodge of England and Wales. Now, this was a huge deal because it made it official on St. John the Baptist's Day, and they actually held like a public meeting. They kind of just came out into the open. So why did they decide to reveal themselves after literal centuries of secrecy? No one is exactly sure, but some historians think that the order was actually dying out, that they were losing members and they needed basically fresh new recruits to keep this brotherhood alive. Remember, the Freemasons truly believed that their teachings weren't just good for the members, they thought that they were good for all of society. So once this Grand Lodge opens and goes public, something interesting happens. Slowly but surely, other Masonic lodges across England begin to reveal themselves too, and they ask to join up with this new Grand Lodge. It's as if they were basically coming out of hiding, like one by one. But as you can imagine, not everyone was happy about this. Many lodges in York and other places completely refused to accept this new Grand Lodge as like their supreme leader. They basically said, we're good, but we're going to do our own thing. And they went their separate ways. However, we don't hear much, about those like rebel lodges today because the Grand Lodge became such a dominant force. Now, there's an interesting story that claims many of these lodges actually burned their own historical records and documents during this time. And some historians think that this story might have been made up or exaggerated. Maybe the Masons themselves spread this tale to build even more mystery around the organization. I mean, think about it. The order is now so public at the time that they needed to create even more intrigue to attract these new members. And what better way to do it than claiming that they destroyed their own ancient secrets? So who can actually become a Freemason? Well, here's where things kind of get interesting, all right? One of the most important things about any secret society is that they're picky about who gets in. It's not like a club where you're going to sign up and join. There's no democracy in these secret societies. You can't just decide to be a member automatically and become one. So after the Freemasons go public in 1717, something amazing happens. They're flooded with new members. People from all walks of life want to join, but especially the wealthy and powerful individuals. So the Brotherhood starts spreading like crazy across Europe and eventually makes its way over the Atlantic Ocean and into the American colonies. Now, the first Freemasonic lodge officially in America was established in Philly sometime in like the 1730s. Now, this makes sense because Philadelphia was one of the most important cities in any of the colonies at the time. And from there, Freemasonry spread throughout all the 13 colonies, and it was a massive movement that couldn't be stopped in colonial America. Now, here's something that's really important. Many of the men who founded America were Freemasons. We're talking about, George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, Paul Revere. I mean, the list goes on. And the idea that Freemasonry kind of promoted were things like reason and philosophy and liberty and, fraternity, basically like, a brotherhood. And it really resonated in this colonial American period. And these same ideas would later inspire the actual American Revolution. So when colonists decided to break away from Britain and create their own country, the Freemasons and sort of the Freemasonic philosophy actually played somewhat of a role in making that happen. And you can see their influence in the founding documents and even the symbols of the United States. I mean, look at the Great Seal of the United States, which you can see if you have a dollar bill in your pocket. It has several symbols that people associate with Freemasonry. Of course, you have the all-seeing eye at the top of the pyramid, and the pyramid itself is unfinished. Now, historians argue about what exactly these symbols mean and exactly how much the Freemasons actually influenced these American symbols. But one thing is certain, Freemasonry is deeply woven into the fabric of early American society. I've even heard certain theories that, the pyramid is sort of the symbol of like, ancient building, ancient wisdom that the Freemasons claim that they have, possession of. And furthermore, the unfinished nature of it shows that the Freemasons are constantly working, they're constantly building to form a greater society. Now, there's many other theories I'm sure you can find.